Okay, so I just made my first attempt to have a Uyghur conversation. So after checking in at the hotel, we were waiting for the elevator, and a lot of people got stuck in front of the door of the elevator. And there were some Uyghurs, and I randomly started a conversation by asking, how do you say an elevator in Uyghur? 电梯, the guy answered, lift. I was surprised. I think they got it from the Russians, and the Russians got it from the British. But anyways, and I asked for the verb. How do you say to take a lift or to take in an elevator? And he said, lift tutush or something. I already forgot the verb. I gotta look it up again. The conversation just went on from there, and there was a Kazakh young man who told me to speak with more confidence. It was like, when I started studying Uyghur as a Kazakh, I also lacked confidence like you do now. So, speak up. We just started talking. Yeah, so I look forward to having more conversations like this and, just one phrase, one word at a time and one friend at a time. But it just came to my mind that I made a very awkward mistake in vocabulary when I was talking to them. I wanted to say I don't have opportunities in Shanghai to practice my Uyghur. Shanghai'da Uyg'urchani mishq qildigan pursa yo'q. But instead of purset, opportunity, I said purshak, which means beans. So what I said was I don't have the beans to practice my Uyghur in Shanghai. But somehow the guy understood what I was trying to say, magically. Yeah, I think the awkwardness is gonna stay with me for a while, but this kind of embarrassment is where you gotta deal with when you put yourself out there to practice a new language, I guess. Yeah, this street is filled with all kinds of Uyghur food and a lot of things we haven't tried. Yeah, Uyghur specialty foods. So we're gonna step in whatever looks good and try to order in Uyghur. Let's see how it goes. Got some says. Biz polo birtal birchine Peter Mantu shkital samsa shkital mushu shorpa beristasha. Rahmet. Bunu koymuş mu? Samsa mı?
Koymuş hemen kalıbışı. Mavi koymuş bana. Samsa mattan kalıbışı.
So yeah, these are samsa, which probably share the same origin with the Indian samosa, but instead of being fried, it was cooked in tonur, or as the Indians call it, tandoor, in an oven. And we also had pitar manta, which is basically steamed dumplings. It's a food very common in Central Asia and also in Russia. I think the word manta comes from the Korean word mandu, which comes from the Chinese word mantou. So this plate of polu, which is basically Uyghur-style pilaf, it's easily one of the best polus I've had. And look at me devouring that giant piece of meat. It's so good.
Bu Uygurca nime deydi? Na. Normal na bilen okşamaydı. Gırdina. Akna. Yine bir kitap nime bu Gırdina.
Çorp bilen gırdina yeydi.
Gırdina.
And here comes Kazakh-style breakfast. First we had narin, which is basically a noodle soup with horse meat on top. And also we had the famous baosak, which is basically a fried piece of dough. And here you can see, you can tear it open and put jam or butter or sour cream in it. I think the Mongolians also eat a similar thing. In Mongolian, it's called pursuk. And it's probably not the most healthy breakfast option, but a very satisfying one. And to wash it all off, we had the very counterintuitive salty milk tea. The waiter told me that the Kazakhs call it akshay, which means white tea, and Uyghurs call it etgin chai, which means morning tea. So we are at this Uyghur neighborhood called Dünkurük, and we just passed by a hospital, so there are a lot of people with injuries passing by, and people keep staring at me because I'm speaking a different language and because I am holding a camera in front of my face, and I feel like I have to grow comfortable with that, with talking to the camera, with people staring at me, because I'm so not comfortable with this. I feel so embarrassed. I'm surrounded by the Uyghur language and I love it. When I was in Shanghai, I was like craving for Uyghurs, and when I hear the language, I just like follow people around, and now it's everywhere. So, keçürün, Dünkurük pazarı bu tarafta mı? Rahmet. Oh, rahmet. 风情美食，小山。不你买？不你买？一袋。背带。
跟你说了嘛，
背带。
名字就是那个名字。
背带汉语呢？
汉语我们不知道，主要是现在这个天气就要吃这个。
背带，一袋背的。Rahmet. Security check. That got stuck in there. So, how'd I look? Spot a dopa, the Uyghur hat. The vendor told me if you're a guy, you're supposed to have the pointy side to the front, and if you're a girl, you're supposed to have one side, a flat side to the front. I like it. I like it.
你们随便选2个或者3个可以。它是巴旦木、哈密瓜、羊耳、野酸梅，野酸梅跟黑加的酸甜的。
野酸梅你们得多贵，我的天！
하라유릭.
하라유릭. 무슨 고근? 고근. 原味你们得多原味。
أسلتم.
أسلتم.
شنو بداية؟
كاتبول.
15.
15. من مثل بعد.你们是看 her dükkanda muşu pakaç var.
Namba?
Hulu nimedeydi?
Hulu kapak mı?
Kabak. Nimeşka her dükkanda kabaklar var.
Benim dükkanımda kapak yok.
Lakin
Başka dükkanlarda. Bu koşuda kök dükkanlarda doğru dermek istiyordu. Doğru dermek. Uygur tibabet neser setildi. Şu Uygur tibabet neser setildi dükkanda kapak var, hulu var. Sonuçta bu koşuda aşağı neser çıktı.
Yaslan Bey.
Trafik çıkan kilo gelsen yağmur suyu bunu yapıyoruz. Bunu kırıyorlar.
So now we're at the Lingguanxiang, which is also a Uyghur majority neighborhood. You know, I've been talking to a lot of Uyghurs on the street. A lot of the times I've been anxious about, you know, filming my conversations, which are very interesting. But one thing is that, you know, I am not very fluent in Uyghur, so when I have conversations, I'm so occupied with making sentences and grammar, vocabulary, and looking up words and stuff. And when I'm filming, you know, I'm multitasking, so I get anxious a lot of the times. But, you know, people might be worried. They might not be comfortable expressing themselves when being filmed. So that's when, you know, making these videos or shooting footages actually gets in the way of my endeavors of, you know, communicating with the locals, learning the language, learning about the culture and stuff. So now I don't want to worry so much about, you know, getting the footages, getting the conversations on camera. I just want to get myself out there and talk to people. I don't want to sacrifice my experience. Says, yes, no. That being said, I still want to share as much of my experience and the fun that I've had as possible with you guys. And hopefully one day you can come and see and experience Xinjiang for yourself. Okay?
听不懂。
你刚才